Good evening, everyone, and welcome to our regular meeting. Before we get into the agenda, on your behalf, I'll be issuing an official statement from the Town of Holyrood on the recent wildfire. At approximately 2 p.m. on Monday, August the 4th, the Holyrood Fire Department were dispatched to a brush fire with open flame in a wooded area located at Moosey Meadows and the house to the east, 88 Conception Bay Highway. There was serious concern for the health and safety of the residents in the area and an immediate evacuation of the residents of Moosey Meadows as well as residents east of Beaumont Place to the bridge including Duff's Road and Green Acres. Residents were sent to the Conception Bay Arena. The emergency plan for the town was enacted, and we were assigned the assistance of a regional emergency management and planning officer in the person of Devin Reed. As directed by the emergency plan, the town engaged in regular updates from all relevant government departments, led by the Provincial Emergency Operations Command. Forestry was the lead on the execution plan to deal with the fire, and the Holyrood Fire Department, supported by Central Avalon Ground Search and Rescue, were the boots on the ground protecting the town. At 9 p.m. August the 4th, myself, Mayor Gooby, declared a partial state of emergency for the affected areas from Beaumont Place to the bridge at the Holyrood entrance from CBS, including Green Acres and Duff's Road. An evacuation order was also signed, and the Central Avalon Ground Search and Rescue began knocking on doors to ensure people were out safely. The town began its communication process through voice messaging and social media to ensure all residents were aware of the status of the fire and were prepared in the event the emergency extended. At the same time, the Holyrood Fire Department continued to work with the Department of Forestry to battle the fire. They were courageous and determined. They were focused on what they had been trained to do and conducted their fight with the assurance that they had one goal: protect the residents of Holyrood and prevent any loss of structures, and do so in a safe, secure manner. The Holyrood Fire Department provided overall fire command for the affected area in Holyrood. Central Avalon Ground Search and Rescue provided command of ground resources, and the CBS Fire Department assisted with coordination and staging of regional departments who offered support to the effort. On August 5th, there was a heightened concern for the safety of residents beyond the already in-place evacuation. And at 3:05 p.m. on August the 5th, the evacuation order increased, including residents of 377 Conception Bay Highway to our CBS boundary. A full state of emergency was enacted for the town. Given the increased evacuee numbers, residents were now sent to Villanova Junior High in Conception Bay South. Despite encountering several challenges, including effective management of water supply with low levels in our municipal tank, breakdowns of apparatus due significant demands being put on the trucks, strain on equipment and supplies, extreme temperatures, the need for pet evacuations and animal welfare, and many others, our department members and those from our region, as well as the dedicated Central Avalon Ground Search and Rescue, demonstrated true resilience, grit, and determination to protect our community with everything they had. And all challenges were overcome with ease and efficiency. The fire had grown to 22 hectares and we had 925 residents evacuated from their home. The emergency response team continued to meet 3 times a day to assess the conditions of the fire as determined by the various government departments and agencies. We continued to allow the experts in emergency response assist us in deciding the appropriate methods of attack to make decisions based on the safety of life and property. Hotspots and flare-ups, including those at Island Pond, did not deter the team from focusing on the immediate goal of safety and control. The modeling and direction of the Provincial Emergency Operations Command provided the necessary information to make sound decisions based on science, safety, and strategy. Our crew believed in their training and in themselves as firefighters and acted accordingly. On August the 8th, our town was in a position where the Emergency Operations Center, following the guidance of the Provincial Emergency Operations Command, could request the mayor to rescind the evacuation order to reduce the areas affected. On August 9th, we were grateful that we could rescind the evacuation order totally and terminate the state of emergency with no injury to people and no loss of structures of any kind. The Holyrood Fire Department continues to be classified by the Department. The Holyrood Fire continues to be classified by the Department of Forestry as under control until such time that the department can actually have crews walk that area. It will not be reclassified, as that is for our protection. We have many people to thank, starting with our very own dedicated firefighters. Central Avalon Ground Search and Rescue, the Provincial Emergency Management Team, our neighboring fire departments who did not hesitate to come to our aid, and this whole community for their support, prayers, and goodwill as we fought this beast. Appropriate thank you will be forthcoming once we have an opportunity to do a complete debrief of our emergency response. For now, we simply say thank you. You have done well to remind us all of the humanity and kindness which exists around us. To those communities still battling fire, we offer our help in any way we can. We will continue to pray for the safety of all residents in those affected communities, while we give grateful thanks for the safety of our town. The final word tonight is to our residents. This is not the end of our story. It's a chapter. As we look into the days ahead and we have clarity on the events of the last weeks, there will be many bouquets of thanks which will be extended. The greatest bouquet is to you, our residents. Thank you for your unselfish kindness and support to our firefighters. Thank you for your understanding and quick response when we asked you to leave your home. Thank you for your help with our water woes, and thank you for your understanding with us to defeat one of the most frightening and serious events in this town's recent history. A town is a municipality, a boundary set for governing purpose. A community is a gathering of people with similar values, and it's a place where people interact, build relationships, and develop a sense of belonging. The town of Holyrood is an amazing community. Thank you to everyone. And I had to say, as mayor, I was never as proud to wear this chain of office ever while I sat in this chair. So thank you all. Okay, got through that. All right, I will now call the meeting to order. The agenda is before you. Could I have a motion to approve, please? Moved by Deputy Mayor Woodford, seconded by Councillor Crawley. All those in favour? Motion is carried. Adoption of minutes from the meeting of July 22nd. Are there any errors or omissions? Okay. Any business arising? Okay. Madam CAO, no correspondence. Okay, so now we'll move on to planning and development. So we have Deputy Mayor Woodford and Councillor Windsor.
Good evening, everybody. Due to the emergency situation we had here on Holyrood, of course, planning and development, we did not meet as there were more serious things happening that our staff had to handle here. So I'm not going to provide any update other than to do our permits. Our permits listing, we had 27, so be it resolved to table and approve the attached permit listing. 27 permits were issued from July 17th to August 8th, 2025. The permit numbers were 07-0210-25 to 08-0236-25 and includes permits for residential build, occupancy, patio, general repairs, accessory building, fence, demolition, site prep, sign, and extension. So moved.
Moved by Deputy Mayor Woodford, seconded by Councillor Windsor. Further discussion? If not, all those in favour? Against? Motion is carried.
And the next application was a renewal, actually, from last year, and the location was on the main beach. It's the roadside vending application. The zoning is open space commercial. Be it resolved to approve the above application in principle, subject to the town's municipal plan and development regulations and the mobile canteen and vendor regulations. So moved.
Moved by Deputy Mayor, seconded by Councillor Crawley. Further discussion? And I'll just add just 2 cents here, and in my drive around each day, I got to say that this operation is run very well. They're cognizant of the traffic that's navigating back and forth to make sure everybody's safe. So they're doing a great job.
Yep.
And I know they're doing great business this summer with all the traffic, especially last night with the hordes of people down
Yeah,
looking at the squid
just to
coming
say,
in.
that is our hot dog stand that's down there that everyone can see with the
They're
sign.
doing a
That's what
fantastic
that
job.
is, yeah.
Yep.
And the bubble tea. Yes.
Okay.
Yes.
Any other questions or comments? If not, it has been moved and seconded. All those in favor? Against? Motion is carried.
And that's it for planning and development, Mayor.
Okay, thank you very much. And now we move on to recreation and community events. So we have Councillor Tilley and Councillor King.
Well, as Michelle said, they didn't have a meeting, but recreation didn't have
Your
it
mic.
as well due to our situation. As I said, we had no committee meeting due to the situation here in Holyrood. There's very little to report, except to say we did close down our recreation facilities for a few days while we had the fire going on. We reopened again on August the 11th. And this week will be the closing of the park, as well as our camp, Ahoy, our summer camp, and the soccer field. And that's it for us.
How fast the time goes. The summer went in the blink of an eye. Okay, thank you very much, Councillor King. Any other questions on that? If not, we will move on to infrastructure and public works. So we have Councillor King and Councillor Windsor.
Thank you, Mayor. As the other committees have said, due to the priorities supporting the wildfire efforts, infrastructure and public works did not meet during this month. However, there's a little update I'd like to provide, speaking to our water system and the availability. And also, I want to give a shout out to the Shoreline. They picked up on our last update from last month on our water woes. And I thought that was great that they did that. getting the information out to the residents is so important in building the understanding for all, and to get the participation and cooperation and support that we need for
Absolutely.
conservation efforts when we need to do so. So just a few points, Mayor and Council. Just to remind everybody, our tank takes 30 feet of water, right, which equates to 255,000 gallons. So 1 foot is 8,500 gallons. Just want to calibrate on that. And our new future tank that's coming will be double that. So I've said that a few times, but I like to keep putting it out there. Now, at the last meeting, we discussed in great detail the loss of water we had from the pump problems combined with the hot spell and the increased usage, which was more than twice normal during that time period. Since then, we had the fire, right? And more hot spell and usage for firefighting purposes before we had the opportunity truly for the tank to regain significant amounts of water. So, and during the firefighting efforts, we also had a significant leak on Route 60 there by the Subway restaurant, that vicinity, which was promptly repaired. But, you know, having another leak during these times, that didn't help matters. So our tank actually went down lower than 5 feet, which is a dangerous level if we were to, in this same time period, have another emergency elsewhere in the town boundaries, like a structure fire or something like that. So on a positive note, you know, when we put the call out to the residents using our Voyant system and social media channels, to explain our challenges, everyone answered the call, right? Everyone answered the call, and to have that, and as my colleague said as we were chatting there, you get more flies with honey than vinegar. You know, we didn't have to put in an order or close valves or anything of that nature. We asked for the participation of the residents. They understood the challenge that we were faced with, and they cooperated. And really happy to say that the tank now is over half full. It is now standing at 18 feet. Excellent. So thank you, everybody in the town, for your support during that challenge and doing the right thing for your community. I think it's so important. And we were talking about all communities on the island just before our meeting started, and the community of Sunnyside, which was reported in the news, and other communities on the island facing drought-like conditions. So it's not unique to Holyrood, right? So we all have to do our part. Water is a precious resource. On a different note, related to the residents on private wells who were impacted by the firefighting, we have a filling station set up. I'm looking at the back of the room and I see all the flats of water there. The town has really done their part to support those residents. The province has taken samples for all the wells on Green Acres and Duff's Road. Water Resources Division has that sent to the lab for testing. When the town gets those results back, the residents will be notified. Other private wells in the evacuation area were asked to take their own samples, which were brought to the town, and they'll be also sent to the lab for testing. We want to make sure that people's drinking water is safe
Absolutely.
for consumption, right? So we don't have some firm dates or anything like that on when the lab results are coming back, but we're told it takes approximately 1 to 2 weeks. One little note there, when people do come to the filling station, I ask you make sure you close the tap. We don't want to waste any water unnecessarily. And that concludes the update on water woes. Again, Mayor, I thought it was important just to have a few little points. And again, thanks to the residents for all their patience, understanding, cooperation as we all get through this together as a community. And thanks to the staff and everyone involved in helping us manage the challenges, providing your close support and getting those communications out on the Voyant and social media channels. Awesome. Thank you, everybody. Here we go.
Okay, thank you, sir. Great report. Great update. All right, any questions or comments on that latest update? Good. All right, next we'll move on to economic development. Deputy Mayor Woodford, you're up.
So, ditto. We did not meet either because of the wildfire and the emergency operations here in the building. But, you know, a lot of our businesses were affected in some way, shape, or form. And, you know, we just want to say that You know, we realize it's been challenging for all of us, for residents and businesses, especially that were directly affected by the fire and evacuated from their homes and their place of business. There were 13 businesses directly affected and displaced by the evacuation order. And that was, of course, a decision that was based on the safety of everybody. And we want to acknowledge and thank those businesses because they continue to cooperate and to support the efforts of our firefighters, which is great. Want to extend a thank you as well to all of the business community for their support and contribution during our state of emergency. A big thank you to our local businesses and those outside businesses as well, outside of our community, for their generosity of supplying food and water to feed all those boots on the ground heroes that saved our community. As our mayor stated earlier, we will have a debrief down the road, well, hopefully not too far down the road in the near future. And in the meantime, we are looking forward to getting back to normal operations. That's it. Thank you.
Thank you very much, Deputy Mayor. Any questions or comments? All right. If not, we'll move on to public safety. We have Councillor King and Councillor Tilley.
Thank you, Mr. Mayor. We have absolutely nothing to report. Just kidding. Same as everybody else, we did not have a public safety meeting this month, but we did have one hell of a tabletop exercise.
You got that right.
Right? So I'd say that. Some of the stuff that the mayor has already covered, I'm just going to briefly touch on it. The emergency plan worked great, and the results of the emergency plan working great is the fact we had no loss of property and no loss of life and no injuries, which is good. The mayor already touched on the meetings. There was 3 meetings per day. Those meetings and the results of those meetings were put on Voyant. They were all also put on the town's website. So there's absolutely no reason why anybody in the community of Holyrood should be wondering what was going on. The information was passed on as fast as it was delivered. Provincial resources were there all the time. We never lacked anything in the way of equipment or help or whatsoever, which was good. The approach by our fire department and their associates was followed, and the results were absolute. We've seen the results. It worked, so that's very good too. The mayor's already touched on it, that we lost 22 hectares of woods. And the next one is with regards to fire assistance from other fire departments. I couldn't help thinking back to last year, and was some of the comments on social media about we don't need any more emergency equipment. We don't need any more vehicles. Why should we be responding outside of the boundaries of Holyrood? Sound familiar? And I looked at one of them today. I'm not going to mention no name, but I looked at it again today, and that's why I wanted to bring it up tonight. Before I tell these people who came to our assistance, right? So forget about this outside of the boundary sort of thing and living in your own little bubble, okay? The fire departments that came to help us out were Harbour Main, Chapels Cove, Lakeview, Avondale, Conception Bay South, St. John's Regional, Tor Bay, Portugal Cove, St. Phillips, Pooch Cove, and Witless Bay. Okay, so we had a really good collection of people coming to our aid. So we should never hear anything about bubble and isolation ever again. Safety. One of the things us and the public safety from the government, have a look around your property to make sure that there's stuff there that's flammable, that can be removed. We even went out and took all the little, what do you call those things that glow after dark? Yeah. Right? Even the little gnome, I had buried him. Right? I got to go find him now. Right? But, you know, so you look around your property and make sure there's stuff there that's, you know, not going to endanger yourself and stuff like that, sparks and everything else. And I got a few other points, and then I'm going to turn it over to Councillor Tilley. hurricane season, as we know, one's always on our way up the southern United States right now, so people need to prepare. Okay. One of the other things that all communities, I think, need to do is if there's penalties, they need to be enforced, right? If people are going against the fire ban and they're caught, they need to be dealt with. Once the evacuation order has been signed, people that don't refuse to move or leave, they also need to be dealt with as well. Okay. One of the things I know Councillor Crowley was down at the arena when I was there, is a go bag. Not only a go bag for yourself, but also a go bag for your pets. Because we talked to a few people down in the arena and said, geez, I forgot my medication for the dog, or I forgot my medication for the cat. So you need a go bag for yourself, and you need a go bag for your animals as well. And we got a whole truckload of go bags down where I'm at. Okay. The other thing you need to do is register with the Red Cross. A lot of people that went to the arena early had their names wrote down on a piece of paper. But when they phoned back to the Red Cross, there was no record of them showing up. So the thing is, you need to make sure that you register with the Red Cross, and the Red Cross should give you a confirmation number. And that way you know then that you are registered. Okay?
And the province, if I could intervene, the province has been saying that for every day during their debriefings,
Yep.
their
Absolutely.
updates.
Yep. And it's important for people to go and register. And one of the things I think Councillor Windsor touched on, in the military we refer to it as tooth to tail when it comes to people in the field and how many people support them in the field. And the tooth being, for us in this particular case, is the fire department, the water bombers, the ground search and rescue, and all the first responders. The rest of the people all the way down to the tail are the people who support them and make sure they get the meals, our staff here who attend the meetings, get the information out, make sure that the firefighters and first responders are fed and they're looked after, they have water, they have their equipment. If something breaks down, the chain makes sure that this equipment is replaced. So it's not only the tooth we need to thank, it's all the parts all the way to the tail we also need to thank as well. Okay? And the last part before I turn it over to Councillor Tilley, I read a little article the other night, a little bit of a history buff, and it had to do with Churchill, Winston Churchill, and during the Second World War, at the Battle of Britain. And the only thing that stopped the Germans from invading Britain was the RAF, right? And he gave a speech at Parliament on actually 85 years ago tomorrow, which would be May 20th, 1940, and he talked about it. And I think this quote that he made at the end of the speech can be also applied to our firefighters, our water bomber pilots and helicopter pilots, our ground search and rescue, and all the other people. And he made the comment, never was so much owed by so many to so few. And I think that's one thing we can say today, because people are still out on Conception Bay North fighting the fire. They're volunteers, they're a very small group, they're dedicated, and the same as the people here. So we owe them definitely a debt of gratitude. And from that one, I will turn it over to Councillor Tilley. Thank you, Mr. Mayor.
Thank you, Councillor King. Councillor Tilley.
Yeah, I got nothing to say. I got nothing to add. I could go on here for about 5 hours, but I don't want to tie up your time at that. It's just a couple of highlights that I wanted to touch on. And again, I think the mayor summed it up great with the synopsis. And it was, you know, I can't stress how fortunate we are to have the great firefighters that we have and have the great response that we got. I have spent ever since over to Conception Bay North, and they're up now to over 200 homes destroyed and over 10,000 hectares of ground that has been burnt and still burning. Again, from my point of view, again, I guess I'll take my councillor hat off for 1 second, and I just wanted to talk about the volunteers. Like the volunteers of the fire department, the volunteers of the ground search and rescue. just to give an idea of the hours that are put into this whole operation that happened in Holyrood. Just the ground search and rescue itself had over 2,200 volunteer hours, and I'm sure the fire department is well exceeded that. These volunteers with the fire department, as well as everybody else around the ground, cashed in their summers of vacation to be here and help.
Yep.
So that's something I think everybody needs to be aware of. And also, again, I could go on for this for hours, but I'm just trying to keep it to 4 points. The volunteers, I still have to pat on their backs. I am in Victoria every morning. Every morning I see Holyrood Fire Crew pull up. They come over, they say hi, they give me a hug, they go into work. They go do their job for the day. Again, volunteering their time to go do it. A big thing that also is that I can't stress enough that in these times of emergencies that we don't listen to social media. We listen to the subject experts. The heartache that I think most people had was listening to social media. Social media are great when there's something they can talk about. But again, the subject experts are the people who we need to listen to. They're the ones that advised us to evacuate. They're the ones that advised us when it was safe to come back. They are the people that are the ones we have to listen to. The social media professional armchair people are not the ones, and it caused quite a lot of upheaval throughout the community with false information. I can't stress enough the importance of Voyant. Right from the get-go, I have been trying to, with Councillor Crawley, trying to promote Voyant. Voyant Alert was put out right away every time. Full information was listed at all times. At the time when those houses were evacuated, there was no time for you to think about what you were doing or where to go or what to do. Knowing that in your pocket you had this device that was giving you all live updates is phenomenal. If anybody don't have it updated, they can call me. I'll come to their house and update it for them just to make sure they have it on their phone, because it's so important that they have it. I also got to do a huge shout out for the community support. The amount of people, I'm telling you, if these disasters soon don't stop, I'm going to be 500 pounds. The amount of food that was coming. Every time we looked, there was someone coming across the parking lot with subs or chicken or boxes of donuts and cases of water. Like when we go up, I get a call 11 o'clock at night here in Holyrood going, can you come up and help? We got a water delivery, and it's 100 cases of water. Like, we're not talking a glass of water. So it's phenomenal, the community support, and I know that we cannot thank each and every person. It's impossible to thank each and every person. I started a list, and I just couldn't do it. But again, I'm just going to do a heartfelt general thank you to everybody who helped. Before I finish, because I know I can keep going, I want to stress the importance of people realizing that just because we're having a little bit of rain today, that doesn't make the fire level low.
Exactly.
Over in Conception Bay North today, the rain is falling on the fire and is evaporating before it even hits the ground. So we have to remember our fire safety. We have to, if you have any piles of grass cuttings or anything in your backyard, or your compost bins, make sure you're keeping them moved. Make sure the grass cuttings are being moved. Take away, as Councillor King said, get rid of any glass ornaments that are out in front. We've had 2 graveyards catch on fire since our Holyrood fire. So we want to make sure we are as safe as we possibly can. And please, please, please abide by the rules that are given out there about no fires. No fires also consists of cigarette butts being thrown out a window. They have caused fires, and that is huge. And again, I am a true person. If anybody knows me, my mental health and peace is going off camping and sitting by a campfire. The first campfire Mabel will be lighting is when the snow is on the ground and I have to dig a hole to do it. So please, fire safety, very much. We do not want to be back knocking on your doors next month. So other than that, again, I can go on for hours, but that's good. Thank you.
Okay, thank you, folks, for that update. Well said. Yes, Councillor King.
I just got one point that I missed in the first one, and that's with regards to insurance policies. People need to make sure that they check their insurance. And I'll tell you, this happened to a friend of ours, and no names, but I'll just use it as an example. On Monday, they got an emergency alert. Okay? On Wednesday, they got the information that they had to evacuate. And this is just a scenario, this never happened, but I just want to explain how it unfolded to them. Say, for example, on Thursday, your property burned to the ground. They had a tractor in their garage, and they asked the fire department, or they asked the insurance company, is the tractor covered? And the insurance company said no. But do you know why they said no? Anybody want to take a guess at it? No, partly right, yeah. But it could have been moved. Okay, they could have moved in those 2 or 3 days that they had between the alert and the evacuation. The insurance company looked at them. You could have moved that tractor to a safer location. And the same thing applies to people maybe left their cars in the driveway, left other things. Those things, depending on your insurance policy and the company that you're dealing with, those things may not be covered. So people need to think about that for future and make sure that you read your policy, and if you have any questions, ask your insurance company. So I just thought that was very important to pass along.
Okay, thank you very much, folks, for that great update. And now we'll move on to communications. Councillor Crawley.
Thank you. We met all the time. I think we just met over and over and over many times a day. So I can't say it was an official meeting, but that's how that worked out. They say great communicators lead and great leaders communicate. And that is certainly the case for the last few weeks when it comes to our emergency situation. So as Councillor Tilley said, we now know how important Voyant was in this case. When I think back to 4 years ago when I started this term, and Mayor, you struck up this special communications committee, which hadn't really existed before. It did in different ways, but this was a special committee. And we were taking piece by piece, and we spent so much time on our internal policy, which worked during this emergency. People, getting the information from the top down. And then we worked on the external communication and building the database, and so many hours and so much time and so much effort went into it in the case of. And this was in the case of. Mm-hmm. And I remember you standing next to me, Councillor Tilley, and saying that in an emergency situation, this is the only thing to have. And getting it from the proper places. Shortly after I was evacuated and we got back in, our company out in town was on alert, and I was on Voyant and I was on Paradise Voyant, and I was getting updates regularly. I was on the waste management. I connect with waste management, the ERSB, and I knew which dumps were closed, which dumps were open, and the fact that Holyrood had missed they only got half the town because they missed the garbage pickup on the week of evacuation. The next week, so this just Wednesday passed, it was so full, everyone was so full and so jam-packed that they only got half the town picked up, and they came back the next day to pick up the rest of the town. And the questions coming out, my garbage wasn't picked up, who's your garbage picked up, and this one, mine wasn't, and I was just watching it roll, and I'm like, if you only had Voyant, if you only had that little alert that said half it was picked up, the other half's being picked up tomorrow, all confusion would have disappeared. So it's just, we can't stress it enough. We really can't. Going through the proper channels. Our social media and website was updated constantly throughout the day, and that coincided with our PIOC update, the provincial and forestry and everything, the whole team that comes together. It was very comforting to know that this team came together so fast. So there was a communication center located here at our town hall, and the information came out. They met 3 times a day, and then the information was updated from our town. The water notices were reliable. They were on time. They were very specific, and like I said, again, kudos and thank you to everyone who answered the call. and responded appropriately with our water situation. So a large number of people have come forward to sign up for Voyam, but we want to keep encouraging, and don't hang up on us when someone reaches out to ask, would you like to sign up? And I'm with Councillor Tilley. If you want me to come to your house and set you up, I will totally set you up. All the IT support you need is around here. So the last thing I want to talk about with communications is that due to the ongoing disaster and trauma that's happening down in CBN, we are going to cooperate with other entities on the Avalon and throughout the province to collect donations. We have put it out on our social media sites and our website as well. And we are appealing to the citizens. Now we understand the position that everyone has been in and all the generosity that you spoke of that came to the town of Holyrood. I mean, I was flooded and inundated with, do you need a place to stay? What do you need? Do you need to put your animals somewhere? Now we need to do it for CBN. So we're putting it out there that there's monetary donations can be offered and can be sent to info@holyrood.ca with the message of donation to CBN, because we're not getting people confused with paying their taxes. Donation to CBN, we'll put it into a separate fund and we will make a check, and those donations go towards the Red Cross, who are actively boots on the ground, feeding and housing and taking care of displaced residents. And food donations and school donations. This is near dear to my heart. We lost, I was speaking or sent out a message to Miss King, Jacqueline King, who is the principal of Cabot Academy, who lost her school. And I understand, like, with a very small school, you're very close and you are like a family. So I can't imagine how devastating that is for everyone down there. I mean, it's the pillar of the community where you come together. So all these people still have to start school. All these little kids, and I say little relative, so it's K to 12, and people going to CNA, and they all have to get started, and they have to get out. So school supplies, the basic school supplies, lunch bags and backpacks, and people probably had the stuff purchased and bought and set aside. Anything is a help. And then you think about snacks for school, people going into recesses, granola bars and the fruit packs and anything, you know, you sit down, you think about, what am I going to send my kid off to school with? They're going to need it. So any donation, anything you can offer, big and small, will be accepted. And I think that's it, because we have no minutes. We don't need to make this motion of approving. Okay. Thank you.
If I can just add a footnote to this, and I want to explain it. While, you know, in the first couple of days when things were happening fast, everybody trying to get organized, which was done very quickly here at the communication center, getting everything set up, fire department with boots on the ground. Things were happening extremely fast under very, very dangerous situation, because this fire was traveling fast. And from my perspective as mayor, of course, you have a tendency for the media to reach out, looking for information. Now, while everybody was doing their thing, you know, there was times when I sought advice, should I do this interview or should I not? And, you know, I may have done an interview, and I've done a few interviews, but they were done at the right and proper time. But, you know, to come out before the media, say at 3 o'clock, only to have it on the news at 6 o'clock. And all of a sudden, within that hour you did the interview, things have changed drastically. Because the situation was so fluid. We did not know with the wind speed, the direction. There was too many things happening too quick. But we had the EOC set up, and we were seeking advice from them. And that was the avenue and the route that we decided to take. And I'll give you a quick example. I was scheduled to do a live CBC interview. 20 minutes beforehand, we were ready to go. 20 minutes beforehand, we got news that there's a changing or an evolving situation going on right now that's going to change the water on the beans. So had I done that interview, things would have changed drastically. and all of a sudden people says, I'm confused, like what they're putting out now in Voyne and what the mayor said 2 hours ago. It's two different things. So you had, and this was advice that I sought, under situations like that, where things are happening fast and very fluid, because we did not know for the first couple of days how things were going to go, that you had to be extremely cautious in the messaging you put out, and that's even dealing with the media. God love them. They only want to try to help us, but there's times when we're not in a position to provide, that immediate information that they're looking for. Because again, an hour later, the whole situation could change, adding confusion. But the Voyant and our social meeting was very effective, and I heard it from several residents afterwards. Thank heavens for the Voyant, because you get it, it's instantaneous, it's real time, and it's based on fact, it's consistent, and it's concise. And that's the information to depend on, and that, again, that information came from the experts that we were dealing with in this room, with different levels of government and different agencies. And I think that kept everybody, from going beyond the panic and getting frustrated. So I just wanted to make that clear.
Okay. Thank you, Mayor. And I'm ready to move on to.
The motion.
No, Corporate Services and Administration. There's no motion. We have no minutes to approve.
Okay, yeah, okay, all right, yeah. Okay, corporate service, so you can pay the bills.
Yeah, for Corporate Services and Administration, again, money was coming at us and accounts were coming at us for sure over the time, but we did not meet officially. I do want to thank staff for keeping things running. Just want to point out that last year in the budget, proactively, by some means necessary around the table, we did put aside a disaster relief fund. I don't know if we jinxed ourselves or whatever it was, but we did have a disaster emergency fund. We're going to see if we need to pull from that before we kind of let the dust settle. And but we do have those extra resources for anyone kind of in the back of their head going, oh, they're going to raise our taxes now to pay for this. That's not the case, right? That's not where we're going. So just want to go ahead with those motions now, if no one else has anything else. Do you want to add, Councillor?
Oh, good. I think that that fund probably should be doubled.
Yep, and we'll look at that coming up. That'll be coming up. Okay, so be it resolved, those accounts tabled in the amount of $298,936.62. Check numbers D4964 to D5056 and 47242 to 47303 be approved for payment from the general account. So moved.
Moved by Councillor Crawley, seconded by Councillor King. Further discussion?
General accounts, and I want to say our softball lights are in this payment as well, so there's a big chunks in there.
Yep.
Yeah.
Okay. All right, all those in favor? Against? Motion is carried.
And we still currently, at this moment, have a healthy bank book balance of $246,489.60.
And here we are heading into the latter part of August, so I think we're doing great. We're doing good. Okay, thank you very much, Councillor Crawley. All right, we'll do the new business now. We'll start to go around. Deputy Mayor.
Do I have to stand? Yes, I do have to stand. That's a heavy sigh. Well, I mean, how can we let this opportunity go without thanking people? So you have to thank people. For the situation that we were in, it was a scary situation. And a lot of people stepped up to the plate. First and foremost, our fire chief, Trevor Rideout, did a phenomenal job. Phenomenal job. He was here at every single EOC meeting that we had and provided the updates as they were happening to the provincial EOC team. all of the firefighters as well, with the Holyrood Fire Department, all of the firefighters from all of the other departments that assisted, forestry, people that were on the ground that made decisions, ground search and rescue, hats off to Mabel Tilley. She's a counselor. She took off that hat as ground search and rescue as well. She was here around the table for every meeting. All of her, not her, but all of the volunteers with ground search and rescue did a fabulous job. It was, I have to say, it ran like a well-oiled machine, how everything went on in this room from that Monday when we got that notice. We got called in here to what was going on. And I mean, everybody was frantic. I was frantic Monday. I was like, tell me what to do. I need to know what I need to do. And it was like, okay, relax. Everyone has a role. And by Tuesday morning, I have to tell you, that chaos was done.
Yep.
Because everybody had a role that they played, and everybody played it really well. To the staff here in the building that worked long hours over this past few weeks, my hat's off to them. I look down at our communications and recreation director, Kyle Hocko. He was out fighting the fire nonstop. I have to look at our CAO. I have to thank her. She's a phenomenal woman. I don't know how she does it. The many hats that she wore during this fire, this wildfire, from the communications to CAO, to dealing with the water issue, to feeding those people that were volunteering, from 6 a.m. in the morning till midnight here in the building, on and on and on. My hat goes off. My hat's off to you.
I think.
Yeah, absolutely. Thank you, Marjorie. I don't know how we would have got through it without you. What else? I'm not sure who else to thank. I'm sure we're going to do a formal thank you to all of those people. But really thanks to our residents. Everyone was affected, even though you might not have been in an evacuation zone. Everybody was affected in the community because we felt for everybody in the community.
Everybody felt it.
But what I'm seeing and what I'm hearing now is that people are more mindful of what's going on in their community. People are more mindful of fire. I never had done this before, but now when I'm driving through the community, especially when we were in the active part of it, I'm looking for smoke. I'm looking for things that I never ever looked for, because I had never gone through this in my lifetime. I had never seen so many fires in my lifetime on the Avalon as what we're having right now. So it does change your mindset. And then, we had that incident on the boardwalk where the boardwalk caught on fire after we just had a major fire. And people in this town now are more aware than ever of what's going on around them. And they called the fire department right away when this happened, and the fire was put out really quickly. So as Councillor Bruce King always says, if you see something, say something, and we are seeing more and more of that. So kudos to our community out there that are stepping up to the plate and being aware of the situation around them and calling out people when they are doing something that they don't recognize the consequences behind what they're doing. And that could be anything from a fire ban to an ATV ban. We are under a lot of bans right now. And yeah, we do need to be able to step up to the plate and let people know that this is not right. So thank you to all of our residents for doing that. And that's it for me.
Thank you, Deputy Mayor. Well said. Councillor King.
Thank you, Mr. Mayor. I only have a page and a half. First one, I just want to actually reiterate what the Deputy Mayor said. Absolutely, we have a fantastic group of first responders, because you need to be able, in order to be able to cover everybody, you need to put the blanket over the whole works of them so you don't miss anybody. And everybody did a fantastic job. Actually, my young fella came home from a shift, and he said, "Daddy," said, "guess what I did?" I said, "Geez, I don't know. I'm frightened to death to ask." He had to herd chickens. I said, "We should have brought one home for supper." But anyway, so you don't know what you're going to be doing from one day to the next, right? So, I mean, you're out there and everything. And I just want to reiterate what Councillor Crowley said. If people should donate, because, I mean, I know for a fact, because I'm from out there, there's people out there right now that have got absolutely nothing. No school supplies, no house, no nothing. I mean, they are absolutely, they don't even know where to start and how to start, okay? So if people can donate, absolutely, and I know it's been shared, I mean, probably well over 70 some odd times and stuff like that, so the more the better. And I was talking to a lady the other day, and something along to what the deputy mayor said, and she said to me, every time I hear a siren, I get stomach sick, right? And she did, and she was almost in tears. She almost had me in tears too. And that was one of the things she said. Doesn't matter what time of the day it is. You know, before this happened, I mean, especially on Route 60, you're going to hear an ambulance go by at least 3, 4, or 5 times a day, and it doesn't, right? And you pay no attention to it whatsoever. It's just background noise. Now, when people hear it now, like this lady, she said she actually gets stomach sick, and that says a lot about the fear and the stress that people are facing over the past couple of weeks. And hopefully, everybody now is on the downward slide. And I just want to do one off the subject there with regards to the museum. We had a couple of celebrities at the museum over the past weekend. Rick Mercer was there. Mark Critch was there. Actually, there was a former premier there. He just went in, had a look around, but because of his schedule, he's going to come back a little later. So all these people are getting the word out about the museum, and they are absolutely impressed about the museum and stuff like that. And my last point, everybody must watch NTV with This Day in History with
Jim Furlong.
Jim Furlong. I'm going to give you this day in history from me. And that on the 19th of August in 1976, which is 49 years ago, I joined the Canadian Armed Forces. 49 years ago. Left Perry's Cove, and I'm just going to tell a little story, because out there, I mean, the first colored person I ever seen, well, other than on TV, was at the Acadia bus station in Halifax. Okay? When I got to Cornwallis, there was, at the time then, back in the 70s, they called you everything, and I mean everything. I wasn't insulted because I didn't have a clue what it meant. I do now, and it wasn't good, right? So I just wanted to do that point in history. Thank you very much, Mr. Mayor.
Thank you very much, Mr. Furlong. Councillor Crawley.
Thanks. Obviously, I feel all the same sentiments that you both do as well. Triggered is the word you're looking for. You got to be hip with the words, Councillor King. You hear sirens now and you're triggered. Yeah. But I do want to say thank you to the town as well for respecting all these bans you were talking about. I literally haven't seen an ATV go across.
I haven't either.
I've been on the beach, I've been down around, and I haven't laid eyes on any kind of off-road vehicle. It's really quiet. It's actually kind of like peaceful now down at the beach. But so people are respecting the hikers, where, you know, the band are trying to keep people off the hiking trails, and most seem to be respecting that, which is fantastic, along with like respecting our water ban. So, you know, it's fantastic to see the province pull together for these disasters. The staff, I don't even know if I'm going to be able to do this without breaking down either, but all the staff here who worked like tirelessly, countless hours, the dedication, the support. I'm telling you, if I ever hear anyone saying anything, it's going to be, yep, that's right, it's going to be a lookout. countless hours, the hours putting in the time and dedication, and it was just so selfless. Like, it was just, we are getting this done and it's for everyone else. And it was difficult because we, you know, a number of us were evacuated and we were trying to get the information and getting the information out and anything. So thank you so much to all the staff and the leadership. Don't forget, and I know you're probably going to touch on this, the mental health part is very, very important. Like, just circled it. I know, the same thing, because people are triggered and it's stressful and you're watching it. And if you stay on your phones and you're scrolling through, it is taking a toll. It doesn't matter if you're involved or not involved, and you could be up in, you know, in the middle of nowhere and have nothing to do with it. But if you're scrolling and you're looking, and this is all you're dealing with for weeks on end, it's going to take a toll. And we're back to school, and I know the kids, you know, we're coming back, and they're going to be bringing stuff in with them as well. And adults are bringing it into work, so it's really, really important to take care of your mental health. And we put out all the resources, again, that are part of communication. And like, I've sent it out to my staff as well, and just try to get the message out there as much as possible to take care of yourself if you're able. So thank you. That's it.
Thank you, Councillor Crowley. Councillor Tilley.
Well, I think all good words have been said here tonight about the staff and the volunteers, and like everybody knows my heart is absolutely filled with, especially, again, I got to give kudos to our CAO. That woman was doing everything from carrying water to supplying food to you name it, she was doing it. And again, we're very lucky to have her. And we're very lucky to have our fire department and our fire chief. Just a little kudos again to our fire chief. After a disaster, his phone calls now, when he calls me, we check in on each other every night, mental health. We check in on each other every night, and our greeting is, hello, my friend. So just to let you know how that's, you know, it's going. Again, on a more chipper note, I never realized how many chickens and turkeys were in this community. I'm on first name basis with all of them. Again, I've never realized how many chickens and turkeys are in this community. And again, just for a chipper note, over one of the first days I was over in Conception Bay North, which was the day after our state of emergency was lifted, I went down to help a distressed pig. So we had a call, distressed pig, why not? Went down, helped a distressed pig. I went down with one pig, we came back with 11. The pig was distressed because she was in labor. We came back with 10 piglets and one pig. So that one is a feel-good story. Again, it was, you know, you never know what you're going to. So if anybody is ever bored and they want something that's absolutely phenomenal to volunteer with, check out Search and Rescue, because the things that we've done the last 3 weeks are phenomenal. I do really, on a serious note, don't want to talk about mental health, like the mental health of our first responders and of the residents and of the staff. With our, you know, the tragedy that's going on in Conception Bay North, and with my many years of experience with search and rescue, the what ifs kills people, literally. Right. So again, it's totally normal for the first couple of weeks to have the triggers, like Councillor King said, with the sirens and smelling the smoke. We're still smelling the smoke from the Conception Bay North fire. It's totally normal to have you're anxious, you can't sleep. What about, what if? It's totally normal. But if it lasts more than a week, if you find you're not eating right, you're not sleeping right, you're agitated, people are saying you're different, please seek mental health. Please seek help for your mental health. One statement that I always say to people is that if you had your knee was hurt and it never got better and it got worse and worse and worse, you'd be the first one to go to the doctor to get an x-ray. So why would your mental health be any different?
Exactly.
So it's very important that you look after yourself and you look after your friends. Have the conversation. There's anonymous 1-800 numbers out there. Bridges for Gap is out there. Bridges for Gap, yes, is out there that has a 1-800 line. First responders has a warm line. There's also peer support that is there. It's there for anybody who needs it, and it really needs to be highlighted and stressed. But again, kudos to everybody in this community. Again, I'm on first name basis with your chickens, so I might be back just to see how they're doing. And please enjoy our beautiful community that we have safely.
Thank you so much, Councillor Tilley. Councillor King.
Oh my God, there's not much left for me to say.
I always feel like that, yeah.
All the thank yous have been said. But I look at it, we're all here this evening, and some of you were out of your homes, but thankfully you're back again in your homes. We have our residents are all safe and back in their homes. We lost no structures. We lost no animals. We saved our beautiful community, and I think that's very important. And I don't think there's enough of thank yous can be said to each and every one who worked in this emergency. So thank you, everybody.
Thank you very much. Councillor Windsor,
What do I have?
you can wrap it up.
Yeah, I'll be brief. Well, I think after what Mabel was just saying about
Your mic, Steve.
all the chickens and pigs, you know, thanks to our first responders, we didn't have a big feed of fried chicken and bacon. I mean, there's no words. I just feel a lot of gratitude, I think, for the community, Marjorie, Mabel, Kyle, Trevor's not here in particular, and all the first responders, everybody. And the kindness, I think that was evident, that came through. Like, you know, especially these days, everyone's quick to jump on one another and pick and poke at something, but there's a lot of kindness shown, and to our neighbors and to our neighboring communities, like Councillor King touched on, like helping out. We're still helping out other communities, and it's just so nice to see. So thank you, everybody, and be kind to one another. That's all I got. Over to you,
Thank you
Mayor.
very much. And I'll just make a few very brief comments because everything that could have been said has been said very thoughtfully and directly from your hearts. And all I can say is, like to so many, to everybody, a heartfelt thank you. A heartfelt thank you to everybody involved in this very, very difficult situation. And I can tell you, I am very, very proud of this community. So, that is the agenda, folks. And the date of the next meeting is September the 16th, and that will be in the midst of the municipal election. So the meeting is at 6 o'clock on September the 6th. Could I have a motion to adjourn, please? Moved by Councillor Crowley, seconded by Deputy Mayor. All those in favour? Meeting